I think Kenyan teachers and really African teachers in general just look at students and see little monsters. Except for the teacher's pet, everyone else to them is definitely evil. I've had my fair share of bad teachers in my lifetime, and some of them are just out of this world. But none can ever be compared to my class 1 teacher. She was so bad that teachers from other classes would bring their students to our class to get punished by her. At this point, I was relatively new to the school and I hadn't yet had a bad teacher till then. One time, the teacher from the other class 1 stream came to our class with one of her students. She was complaining about how much noise he was making and he was refusing to listen and keep quiet during her class. Usually, our teacher, who we'll call Miss Jackie, would just do the classic ruler to the knuckles thing if you were nice and made you write a long apology. But when she asked him why he was making noise, the boy smiled. Miss Jackie was not amused, but she remained calm. She then told him to come closer to her, and all of us were waiting for her to slap the life out of him. But instead, she pulled his pants down in front of the entire class. We were just in class 1. She was in charge of 6-year-old children. That's not a punishment any child should go through. It's literally every child's nightmare. And he had to walk back to his class in his underwear. I remember I went to the washroom and cried because even as a spectator, that was so traumatizing. At least by lunchtime, he had his pants back and was playing with his friends. About 2 weeks later, my deskmate, who happened to be the class prefect, asked me for answers during a Swahili test while Miss Jackie was out of class. I remember I really hated him and I was too afraid to get caught, so I said no. He then said, if you don't give me the answers, I'm gonna go write your name on the noisemakers list. I said run. Hurry up and go write my name then. This boy actually wrote my name. And not just my name, he wrote times 100 or something. When Miss Jackie came back, she looked at the board, saw my name, and called me to the front of the class. I immediately started crying. I started thinking about how everyone would know I wear Hello Kitty panties. I really tried explaining to her how the prefect had threatened me, but she didn't believe me. I think she saw how frightened I was, and knowing that I was a first-time offender, she didn't really hit my knuckles as hard as she did the other noisemakers. But she did make us all wear masking tape on our foreheads and wrote, I am a parrot, I was talking in class. And she even drew a tiny parrot at the end of the tape. She told us that we had to stay with the tape on our foreheads till the next morning, and she would know if we took it off. I remember my mom picked me up that day and she was so confused. She made me take the tape off once we got home, but I was so afraid that Miss Jackie would find out because I thought she had superpowers. Miss Jackie actually lasted in the school longer than I did. She even ended up teaching my younger sister, and she seemed to be continuing her wrath from the punishments I was told. There are some people who are just not meant to teach children. A lot of teachers don't understand that fear and respect are not synonymous. Some just don't know how to act when given any authority, from policemen to teachers, politicians, and even parents. I think we inherited toxic authoritative traits from our colonizers, where they would embarrass, shame, harm through emotional, mental, and physical abuse. And a lot of this was done in the name of discipline. Before 1996, Kenyan law restricted the use of school-based corporal punishment. According to the school discipline regulations, corporal punishment was only to be administered for certain behaviors after a full inquiry was done and in the presence of a witness, but not in the presence of other pupils. Only the head teacher was permitted to administer corporal punishment and was not allowed to hit more than 6 times with a written record of all the proceedings. Now, from what my parents have told me, this law wasn't followed when they were in primary school, but was followed when they were in high school. So this law may not have been enforced in every single school. In 1996, The Director of Education reportedly issued a statement banning the use of corporal punishment. Although no ban has ever been enforced, corporal punishment is still authorized. And finally, in 2001, the Kenyan government banned the use of corporal punishment in Kenyan schools and enacted the Children's Act, which entitles children to protection from all forms of abuse and violence. Despite the ban, corporal punishment still exists in most Kenyan schools. The use of physical punishment does have negative psychosocial outcomes in adulthood, such as aggressiveness, depression, low self esteem, anxiety, alcohol, and drug abuse. It has also been found to slow cognitive development and adversely affects academic achievement. A lot of Kenyan teachers abuse their power often, especially through physical abuse, which has sometimes even resulted in death, such as Mary Wamboi from Gitithia Primary School, a classics pupil who was allegedly struck on the crown of her head and later succumbed to her injuries, or William Kioko Mbaluka from Kakuku Secondary School, whose body was found badly beaten within the school compound. And more recently, Michelle Jennifer, who went to New View Education Center schools in Kayole. She answered a question wrong in class, and her teacher, Eunice Musembi, allegedly hit her on her back and killed her. The school didn't alert her parents and instead dumped her body at Mama Lucy Hospital and then bribed her classmates with 30 shillings each to keep quiet. Her mom waited and waited for her to come home until she had to go to the police. At 11 p.m., she found Michelle's body at Mama Lucy Hospital morgue. There still has been no justice for any of these children. I do remember we used to get beaten for questions we would get wrong, which makes absolutely no sense. If we knew everything, we wouldn't need to go to school. I personally witnessed too many times where teachers used unreasonable amounts of force, bullied, publicly humiliated, embarrassed, and shamed students. Respect is earned. Treating your students like the decent human beings they are goes a long way, and they will treat you with the same. The fact that the government has let this go on for all these years speaks volumes. In the words of Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. If you have any interesting African teacher experiences that you'd like to share, you can comment them down below or send them to my Instagram along with the country you're from, and I may end up animating some of them for future videos. Hope you really enjoyed, and thanks for watching.